I think by now y'all know if I am sitting on the floor that I am not messing around. And today is one of those videos. We are going to talk about something that I hear from you all so much. We chat about it online, we chat about it on social media. It is probably the number one health concern of most humans and predominantly of women that are my age, and that is quality sleep. I'm going to talk about why it's so important, and I'm going to give you 5 ways that I have improved my sleep, and the 5th one could change your entire life. I'm not being dramatic, and I'm really glad you're here. First things first, we're going to talk about why sleep is so important for me personally, and also the negative health consequences if you're not getting good sleep. And the reason I wanted to start there is I feel like we joke about this all the time. We say, oh, you know, I'm living on 3 hours of sleep, or I was up all night with the kids, or I was up all night with the dog, or I was up all night with hot flashes. You know how it is. We're always exhausted. And it almost becomes like a badge of honor or like proof that we are working so hard and so diligently to take care of everybody in our lives that we're not getting good quality sleep. And I want to tell you, it's not a joke. It's very, very serious. And I have a quote from Johns Hopkins, and I will put the link down in the description box so you can verify it for yourself. Chronic poor sleep may increase the likelihood of developing dementia, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and even cancers of the breast, colon, ovaries, and prostate. Let that sink in for a minute. Your inability to get good quality sleep could be negatively affecting your health in all of those different ways. In fact, I would say, other than making sure that you're eating right, nutrition, movement, all of that, which plays in, and we'll talk about that in a minute, quality sleep is like the number one foundational thing in order for your body to function properly. It's a big deal. So first of all, if you're not getting good quality sleep, I want you to stop putting that on the back burner and acting like it's really not that big of a deal. It's huge, massive, very, very big. And today is the day that you're going to start taking your health seriously, and you're going to start with the quality of your sleep. Okay? All right, so we're going to start there. Now, I'm going to give a caveat before I get into the 5 things. And I apologize that this introduction is longer than normal, but we need to get these things out there. Just because these are the things that have worked for me, that does not necessarily mean that these are the things that are going to work for you, okay? So I think that's really important to remember. The point of this video is not for me to tell you what to do with your health and your sleep habits. It's to give you some tips and to, more than anything, help you to make it a priority, to really say to you, okay, listen, I'm speaking directly into your eyes. Stop acting like this is not a big deal. Okay, especially with the dementia part. Once I saw that study linking dementia risk to lack of good sleep, some of you know my mom has dementia. She's got Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. That was like the end of the line for me. I was like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to start really working on fixing my sleep, and here's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so the number one thing that I did, and I have good notes because I have a lot of words. It's going to be hard for me to be concise and precise in this video, but I promise I'm going to try. A good night's sleep starts in the morning. That's number one. Now, what I mean by that is your daily habits contribute to your nighttime sleep. So for me, that includes good nutrition starting in the morning. That includes taking my multivitamin. That includes plenty of hydration during the day. That includes plenty of daylight during the day. I know you guys know this, but our circadian rhythms are set. Am I saying that right? Is it circadian rhythms, or is a cicada that animal in the South? You know what I'm talking about. The things that control our sleep and wake times are light dependent. So if you live in an area where it's really hard for you to get natural sunlight, get you a sun lamp. These are all habits that you're going to do during the day. Nutrition, hugely important because you want to make sure you're supporting your body's overall health by having plenty of protein, plenty of fiber, plenty of fruits and vegetables. How your digestive system is working is huge for good quality sleep. And I say that as someone who used to struggle with chronic heartburn, would wake me up in the middle of the night, which can also be linked to hormones. So getting a good night's sleep doesn't start when you head to bed. It actually starts first thing in the morning, and all of those habits that you engage in during the course of a regular day. Are you getting regular good cardiovascular exercise? I'm not saying you need to be training for a marathon, but are you at least going out and walking regularly? Are you getting plenty of fresh air? Even in the dead of winter, are you going out just for a little while? I mean, I live in Atlanta, so that's easy for me to say. But I mean, my friend Cora lives in Vermont, and she makes a point of getting completely bundled up and still getting out and getting some fresh air, even when the temperatures are ridiculous, because your body needs all of that in order to set you up for a good night's sleep. Okay, number 2. And this right now is so hard. Oh my gosh. We're going to talk about stress management. You're not going to escape stress. You're a human being and you live in the year of our Lord 2025. And if you live in America, it's even more exacerbated. You're going to have stress. I think it's how are we handling that stress? What things are we doing to mitigate that stress? I can't answer that for you, but I can tell you what I do. I practice several very specific things. One of them is I eliminate energy vampires from my life. And this is, I said it like in such a glib way, and it could take a very long time to accomplish this, but some of you have people in your life that are sucking the lifeblood out of you. They are death eaters, they are energy vampires, they are sucking out your positive life force every week, every day, every year, and you're continuing to let it go on. So that has to stop. You've got to eliminate those people from your life. And if you can't eliminate them completely, you need to mitigate the access that they have to you, because maybe it's a toxic boss, maybe it's a toxic family member. You are in the driver's seat and you get to decide who has access to you. So if you can't eliminate the energy vampire altogether, you've got to mitigate their exposure to you. For me, that has meant certain people just don't get access to me all the time. They get access to me when I allow them in. I will return their phone calls, but I have my phone on Do Not Disturb almost all the time because I don't need to be at the beck and call of people that are going to suck my energy. So eliminate or mitigate your exposure to the energy vampires. Okay. Another thing I do during the day is box breathing. I will put I'll try to find a YouTube video for you guys about what box breathing is. It's very simple. It's inhaling, it's holding that breath for a count of 10, and then it's exhaling for a count of 10 and then holding it at the bottom for a count of 10. And you repeat that as often as is necessary. It's very centering. It's very helpful. There are other actual physical things that I do. Stretching, just very simple yoga. I'm not talking about a whole yoga class unless you have time for that. And if you do, I love that for you. I run a small business and a household and have 3 dogs, so not so much. But I do have time for gentle stretches throughout the day. There are tons of resources online for that. Don't overthink this. Don't feel like you have to, I don't know why, but a big barrier for me is thinking that I have to change my clothes, that I have to get into like yoga clothes in order to do stretches. You can stretch any time of the day or night. It does not matter. Stretching throughout the day just really helps reset my nervous system and helps me just settle down and kind of come back to home base, right? Come back to center and reset my emotional stirrings so that I have what I need to deal with the stress. Because obviously that stress that you're bringing in all during the day is going to affect you when you go to lay down and go to sleep at night. And then it's going to affect you again when you wake up at 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, number 3, your actual physical bedroom space. This was a big one for me, and I've talked about this in a couple of different videos, so I'm not going to go into a ton of detail here, but your actual bedroom matters. Is your bedroom really cluttered? Is it a dumping ground? If you have to have your office in your bedroom, is it in a space where you could at least like kind of put things in drawers and put them away so that that's not visually part of your going to bed system? We have a TV in our bedroom, but it's way over there in the corner. We don't watch TV in bed. And I think that for me is a very big deal. Our bedroom is a sacred space and we have it set up so that it is designed for us to get a good night's sleep. That means high quality bedding. That also means temperature control. I looked up what is the optimal temperature for sleep, and some of y'all are going to just absolutely lose your minds. 60 to 65 degrees. So I live in Atlanta, so that means that my air conditioning bills might be kind of high, but that is the optimal temperature for sleep. If you're sleeping at 70 to 75 degrees, there is tons of evidence that says that that will actually cause insomnia. So make sure that you're sleeping cool enough. Your body needs a cool environment in order to get good sleep. What's the noise like? What's the light coming in like? This is going to take some concerted effort, and it possibly could take some money. But when you look at that list of negative health consequences of not getting good sleep, the time and money spent to make sure your bedroom is in its best possible condition for you, kind of a big deal. How's your mattress? How are your pillows? How are your sheets? Is your bedroom decluttered? Is your bedroom clean? Make it a space that when it's the end of the day and you come in here, you take this big, heavy, happy sigh because you've started your bedtime routine, okay? So that's a great segue. Speaking of your bedtime routine, my number 4 best tip: develop a bedtime routine as though you are a toddler. Those of you that are parents, or if you were a child, which I think is everybody that's watching this, when you were a kid, if you had good parents, you had a bedtime routine. And that was because the routine sent a signal to your brain that it was time for sleep. And a lot of us think that as grown-ups, we don't need a bedtime routine. And oh my gosh, you need a bedtime routine. I have this whole rigmarole that I go into. And if you ask anybody that has ever even stayed here, they know. Around 8:30, we're going to start winding it down. I'm going to take my shower or bath. All the makeup is going to come off. I'm going to do my skincare routine. I'm going to put on some soft music. I'm going to light a candle. I'm going to have my chamomile tea. It is a whole routine, y'all. And I don't make any apologies for it. My bedtime routine has been the single biggest factor, well, except for the number 5 thing, which I'm going to get to, in improving the quality of my sleep. I don't eat after 7:30 at night. Obviously, that's impossible when I'm traveling, but when I'm home, I don't eat after 7:30. That has really helped me with like evening heartburn and all of that. I also don't drink in the evenings at all. My husband teases me. I am now only a day drinker. If we're on vacation or I want to celebrate something, that champagne toast has to happen around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I can do an early cocktail hour, but any alcohol after 5 o'clock is very, very disruptive to my sleep. If you've never tried that, not drinking after afternoon or maybe not drinking at all, and you struggle with sleep, I would strongly encourage you to do like a dry month and then journal how did that process go and was the quality of your sleep better. I drink so much less than I used to. I don't drink at home at all. I drink occasionally when we're out or like if we're toasting something. But yeah, I have found that really limiting my alcohol overall has helped, and definitely no drinking after 5 o'clock. Also, obviously, my bedtime routine, there's no caffeine. I actually don't do caffeine after about noon. But the routine itself is what signals my brain that it is time for sleep. I want to say no screens, and we all know all the research about that. I think for me, it's not so much that I'm looking at a screen, because sometimes I'll be texting with my sons in the evenings. That's actually a time when we kind of do a little family check-in. It's what are you looking at? Are you doom scrolling? Are you on a social media platform that tends to show you things that are upsetting? I promise you, the bad thing that happened today will still be there in the morning. And right before you go to sleep at night, at least for me, again, you do what works for you. But for me, reading the bad things that are happening right before I go to sleep at night will sabotage me. I will not have good quality sleep. And my dreams will not be peaceful. And things will bubble up that I read, that those, whatever you put in front of your eyeballs right before you go to sleep, it's a very big deal. So take that time very seriously. I'm an avid reader, but I usually like to read really calm, beautiful fiction before I go to bed. I find that's something that takes me to another place. Right now I'm reading this beautiful novel by Lucy Foley where she's off in the Mediterranean on a cruise ship, and it's just got all the things that you want, and it doesn't stress me out. That's the kind of thing I like to read right before I go to bed. The other thing I like to do right before I go to bed is a moment of gratitude practice, and this is either in a journal or I just do it mentally. I try to think think through what the glimmers were for the day. Where did I see the universe show up in a really beautiful way? And even on days when I'm going to bed feeling distraught, usually if I can find those glimmers, and they are always there, I try to find at least 3, it just resets my brain into a place of gratitude and away from stress, and it really, really helps with my quality of sleep. All right, are we ready for number 5? This is the one that is both the easiest and the hardest in a lot of ways. And it's because we don't understand what it means to prioritize our own health. But number 5 is make an appointment with your medical doctor. If you are going through perimenopause or menopause, I would strongly suggest you go to a gynecologist. I think a lot of us, when we're no longer in our phase of having babies, think we can just go to our regular family practice doctor. And if that's who you have a relationship with, then I would encourage that. But hormones and sleep are very, very closely connected. And there is a lot that can be done. And some of you you don't want to go on HRT, I get it. Maybe medically it's not a good idea. Don't think that that's the only option. I'm not going to go into the things that I am on. I'm on a variety of different supplements and prescription medications, but you need to figure out something that works for you. You don't need to just white knuckle it through and just say, well, this is what my mother went through and my grandmother went through, and you just don't sleep when you're going through perimenopause. It's just not true. There are things that can be done. Some are, more of a big deal than others. What I'm on is a very conservative protocol. I'm very happy with it. But that is a conversation for you to have with your medical doctor. And I would say perimenopause, menopause, no matter what your age, male, female, whoever, if you are not getting quality sleep, the first conversation needs to be with your medical doctor, because there could very well be something going on. Maybe you need to be on a daily heartburn medication. Maybe you need to be on an anti-anxiety medication. I would never presume to know your life, but I do know this. If you are consistently, and I would say if 2 to 3 nights a week or more, you are consistently not able to get a good night's sleep, it is time to take things seriously. And talking to your medical doctor is probably the most important thing on this list. And getting back to what we started out with, if you're not getting good sleep, you are setting yourself up for an entire host of medical issues, not just right now, but for the rest of your life. And you're actually affecting your longevity. So this is quite literally a matter of life or death. Stop playing around. Stop acting like it's no big deal. It's huge. Talk to your doctor. Take some serious steps so that you can get a really good night's sleep. Okay, that's all I have for today. Whatever you're doing today, I hope you're finding joy. Comment below if any of this was helpful or any tips you might have for somebody else. And I guess I just want to end with saying this. Sweet dreams, everybody. Bye.